DB IBM. Nisha was recently promoted to manager, and so there she'll be explaining her the inspiring journey of stepping into leadership roles. So here we welcome Nisha.
Thank you. Hello. So you all had a great sessions today, and I think you all did a lot of knowledge sharing. So this is going to be on a lighter note. It's like a storytelling, so that you all can go, end the session with a lighter note. All right. I hope everybody is awake, and I think Prachi did a good job. She sounds so well. I should have come a little more late. You all could have enjoyed the entire song. Thank you, Prachi, for that. And I hope you're all awake, because I'm a little lost after one of the sessions that I had. Let me start with my journey. So I started Logic Monitor 4 years ago, and we were the team of 2 writers, one in Sweden, and I was the only writer in Pune. And from 2 writers, we are a team of 10, and we have information architects, UX writers. But then we started first with the foundation. We created the style guides, the onboarding schedules, and we started mentoring the new hires, and the hiring process also was something new to us. So we started developing all those things so that we could expand our team, and that's when I realized that I had a potential to grow as a leader. And that is the next thing that will take to the next slide. So you recognize your potential as a leader while you are doing your regular job. So first thing that you do is you start taking up initiatives beyond your role. So it's not just you're just writing, or you're just completing your work on task and you're delivering quality documents, but you start also thinking beyond writing in process improvement, mentoring people. So you start realizing your potentials then. The second point is when you start influencing without authority. So sometimes you don't really need to be a manager or in a leadership role to make something work. If you see that there is a need of process improvement where you can contribute, where you can make things work, you should still go ahead and work even if you do not have that authority or that power to do it. Like for example, we had a project X, I would say, I will not name the project. So we had a project X which was a part of 3 projects. Now, we all understand what is a Venn diagram kind of a thing, right? So we had 3 different projects, out of which all these 3 had something common that was to be completed on time. And now these 3 projects had 3 different writers, 3 different managers. So people didn't know whom actually to assign the work and how the work would be completed on time. And this work came during the release time when the writers were already busy with their release work. And this was a very important task because it was directly impacting the security terms with the user, and we had to get it delivered on time. But because they didn't know whom to assign, when to assign, things were getting slipped, and sometimes it was creating a lot of escalation. So when I observed that, I started meeting all the stakeholders of these 3 project areas and met with them to understand what is this work, from where does it originate, and why are we not able to plan it and organize in a way that we could handle this thing earlier. So I created a tracker for all this work. I started understanding what they were going to work on. So they had a list, but they were not prioritizing it. So we created an issue tracker for them. We also came up with a label that you create a Jira ticket. We work in Jira for tracking tickets. So create a label that you need a writer coverage for this particular thing, and we will take it up in our team meeting and we'll assign it to the writer. So that way we were able to track the work, we were able to assign that work to the writer, and there were less slips, and slowly it reduced to 0. And now the team is recognized by their own, we've created a different team for this altogether. So we have a different, a dedicated PM, a dedicated writer, we have weekly cadence, but this all started because of one initiative. Otherwise, it was always, there was a lot of chaos happening in the company. So that time I was not even a leader that time. I was just a senior writer, I was observing what is happening. So if you're able to influence without even being a manager, that is one of the areas that, or one of the skills that you understand that you can become a leader, you can do things. And third is thinking strategically. When you start aligning your business goals with your documentation goals, when you start understanding what is required from not only from your writing, but what is focused in this year on the quarter that is happening, and how you can make your documentation work and align with the business goals. So you start thinking beyond your content or the regular task, and you start creating matrix, you start creating process documentations where the team can follow and work efficiently with their regular work. You also collaborate with other teams like the UX teams, the engineering teams, to understand the gaps and how you could enhance your documentation. And you can also work on process improvements. So this was one of the major things that I shared with you all, that how it improved the process for the project X. But there are minor things also that you can do now. In our company, we have something like release assets. So for creating release notes, it's not like you just work on Confluence or any tool that you have. We have release assets that we have to work on, because it automates the release information. So basically the writer does not have to collate the information by themselves by talking to the SMEs. Each writer who is dedicated in that area works on that blurb, and that gets automatically populated in that release asset. So that way whoever is working on the release notes in that particular sprint, they don't have to really reach out to every SME or anything to understand what is going out in the release. The blurbs are automatically populated. You just have to check in your filter whether everything is captured. You can just peer review and go ahead with it. But for setting that asset, you need a lot of things to be done. So that time, even the experienced writers who have already worked on that release asset for a couple of rounds, they still used to miss on things. So I created a checklist for them so that they do not slip on those items. Because if you miss anything, the customer will not get the release notes on time, and it will not be a good user experience. So we started doing process improvement on that also. So something major like streamlining a project or creating a release notes, anything that helps the team is useful. You can start contributing to the team from your daily work. So once you recognize that you have the skills as leaders, you talk to your management, right? You express the desire that you would want to grow in your role. You want to go ahead in this career path. So sometimes people choose to grow in an individual contributor role, and some people who recognize that they are more happier to grow in leadership path, they move forward in that. So you talk to your manager, and they acknowledge and they agree with you, and you do become a manager eventually. So, but becoming a manager is not just a title change. It's not like, okay, yesterday I was just a tech writer, today I'm a manager. It's a total mind shift change. So what happens is, when you're working as a writer, you are just responsible for your work. Your success is your success, right? Whatever you deliver on time, you get a 5 rating. But once you become a manager, your success is your team's success, right? So your mind shift changes. You no longer are responsible only for what you do. You're responsible for what your team does, how your team performs. And then second is you develop, you start thinking strategically, you start planning, you understand what is required from documentation from a broader aspect. So you start planning and you give directions to your team so that they become successful in their roles. And then you advocate for documentation, you meet with different departments, like I said earlier, you collaborate with them, and this is very essential. The more you talk to the UX writers, the product managers, the support team, to understand the gaps where the users are finding the pain point, or what are the pain point of your documentation, and you enhance them so that you can produce effective and quality documentation. And then yes, you're very happy, you got promoted as a manager. I think that's the most wonderful moment in your life. But along with that, you also get some challenges, right? It's not always rosy. And I think some of the people who are experienced, they would have experienced the first challenges when they became managers for the first time. But this is for for a person like me who just got promoted, and you would find there are common challenges. And I would say there are in two scenarios. When you become a manager, there would be one that you are hired for an existing team, and when you get promoted in the team, right? So let's talk about the first scenario. So when you're hired for an existing team, so you are an alien for the team, right? You're a foreigner. They don't know you, you don't know the team. So your first quarter or first few months go in understanding your team, in building that relation, that rapport and the trust with the team. And this is a very crucial part, because if you cannot build a good foundation with your team, no matter how good and how intelligent the team people are, and maybe how good as a manager you might be, you will not be able to achieve your tasks. And second is when you get promoted within the team. Now this is again a very tricky thing, because you were peers once, you were friends, you were chit-chatting, gossiping about managers on the chai time, and now you are isolated, right? People don't want to gossip with you anymore. So you don't really like that. And you have to still create that relationship, you have to still build the rapport and give them reassurance that you are there for their success, for them, and you're still approachable. They can keep certain gossips to them, but they can always walk up to you, they can confide in you, they can discuss their issues, and you can support them and achieve their career goals too. So this is important as a new manager, that you need to build your relationship and build your confidence within your team before you start in understanding what is a business goal, how you want to align it, how you want to achieve it. You need to have that faith and confidence within your team that everything is going to fall in the right place, right? And then you have to manage the team dynamics. So you would have all kinds of people in the team, and there would be certain conflicts that are going on. So how you can manage and resolve those conflicts with maintaining the harmony in the team and not getting too worked up or being too biased. So how you balance that is another part of management that is a challenge for a new manager. So let's see, how do you overcome these challenges? So to overcome the challenges, the first thing is you need to be very, very clear with your expectations. So be very open with your team, whether you're setting an expectation or while you're giving their reviews. It could be performance review or your feedback things in your one-on-one. So be very transparent with them. Do not give them the feedbacks towards the end when the review cycles are about to end. And do not even wait for the quarterly reviews. If you see something is not working right, in your one-on-ones, please be open, discuss with them openly, and you can create matrix where they are measured against their work. Second is you develop on emotional level. So being a manager is not always about setting business goals only. You have to connect with your team. And because once you're a manager, you're also playing a role where you are, their career and their performance is also something that you are going to handle. So you have to be very understanding of what is happening within your team, how they're performing, what is important for them, how they look at their career path, and how they can come and they can work with you, right? And the other thing is data driven. So whenever you all give feedback or anything, you should always back it up with data. It's not about one or two slips, but if something is happening on a regular basis, ensure that you have data to back up. Otherwise, it becomes a very vague and ambiguous situation where people feel very demotivated. And if they have data, they know that they are going in the right direction. You are there to help them, support them to help up learning curve. And third is you lead through influence. So whenever there are any challenges, you can help them up. You can support them, and then you can move up. You can even level up your team members. And how do you build a high-performance team? So first is you build up on their skills. You want your team members to become strong SMEs in their product areas. Help them understand what they need, and whatever guidance or learnings or any kind of trainings that are required for them, you should be able to provide that to your team so that they can always, they are always upgraded and they become more skilled in their work. And drive for continuous improvement. So no matter how much our documentations are accurate or perfect, according to us, we are doing a good job. But there's always a room for improvement, and we should also see what is trending in the market and keep our documentation also updated in that way. And then the support for career development. Like I said, you should always support your team, understand what each individual needs are. Somebody wants to grow as an IC, or somebody wants to grow as a manager or a leadership role, or probably they want something, they want to learn more in the agile methodology. So always help them, give them guidance, support them with good trainings, and support them to help achieve their dreams like my manager did for me. I would like to do the same thing for my team. So yes, always support your team. As a manager, how would you make strategic impact? So first is obviously you'll align with the business goals, and then once you have done that, how do you measure the quality, and how do you communicate what changes you all made as a manager? So you should have a monthly, proper reporting things or tools, like, because we improved on documentation, we reduced the feed tickets. Feed tickets are the customer complaint tickets that we call. I don't know, could be a different term in every industry. But we reduced on the customer complaint tickets that help the support and the engineering efforts also. So that is one way of showing the improvement. The other could be even reducing the backlog items, how you could reduce it, and that indirectly enhanced your documentation because of reducing all those tickets where you had to improve your documentation. And then is the cross-functional collaboration. This is very essential. I think it's part of all my drives, where you have to communicate with all different departments so that you have a strong relationship, which helps you in turn preparing effective and quality documentation. And third, the last one is to innovate documentation approaches. And like we are all today, we talk about AI and whatever is trending. So we have to work on that our documentation are also prepared in a way that we can, support chatbots or AIs or whatever is the trending thing. So we should always look forward to how we can work on new tools, how we can make changes to our documents so that we can stay updated and upgraded with the latest trends. And I think this is the most important part for me, that leadership is empowerment, it's not control. So it doesn't mean that, okay, now that I'm a manager, I can just do what I want. I can just have my terms, or it's not about that. Because your team is very important. Like I said, your team success is your success. So you need to empower your team so that they can work independently, confidently, and once they feel independent and they are successful, you will be successful. So first is vision and strategy. Set clear expectations and directions for them so that they are successful. Team development, build and work on their skills and make them confident. And process optimization, wherever you all feel that you all can make work easy for them, how you can reduce their time in, maybe in formatting or wherever they feel that they could efficiently work better, get those tools and see what processes that you all can do to make them work efficiently. And resource advocacy, like sometimes the tools that you work on might take more time than even working on content. So see what you can do to make the writer's life also easy. Get more tools, better tools, that they can focus more on writing rather than figuring out about the tools. So there's a very famous quote by Lao Tzu when she says that a leader is best when barely known he exists, when his work is done, his aim is fulfilled, and the team can say that it was done by ourselves. So the leader actually has to be invisible, and that is a true leader. People should not feel that they have somebody who is organizing and managing them. The team is fantastic, the team can work independently, and the leader's name is not mentioned anywhere, and that is the power of true leadership. So I would come to my last slide, the key takeaways. like I said, it's a complete shift of mind shift. Not only the label changes, but entire mind shift changes once you become a manager. Second is you start thinking long term, you set long term goals for your team, and so that they are successful. Third is the communication skills, where you have to collaborate, meet with the different departments to understand and create better documentation. And fourth is continuous learning. So even if you become leader or CEOs or whatever level you are, your learning does not stop. So you should always keep learning no matter what role you are in, what designation you are at. Seek guidance from your mentors, from your peers, and always keep learning. So that's it from my end. I think I rushed it, but any questions?
So how important it is for managers to be technically sound and not just do the man management?
Good question. Okay. In today's world, or whatever we are saying, we all need to upgrade ourselves with technology. However, even if the manager is good with technical knowledge but cannot do people management or delegation of the work well, is still not going to be a successful manager. So I think it has to be a balance of both, because if you are only good with technology, you could be somewhere in IC roles where you are doing good with technology and getting business for revenue for the company. However, if your task is to manage people, technology, yes, you have to be there. It is good to have that, but you should be at the same time be able to manage and delegate the work and getting the work done efficiently. So I would say it would be a good balance. You would need both.
Any more aspiring managers here?